we got some stuff to do. How is the volume sounding? Sounding good? Sounds good to me. Hello everyone, Bubbleninja 720 here, bringing you part 113 of my live stream playthrough for Final Fantasy 14. So I've been still working on getting my stuff set up. I have actually gotten all the armor for Caster, so for the most part, just to give it a quick rundown. I got my warrior fully set, so it's got the tank armor plus the axe. Oh, who's messaging me? No, I'm not going to deal with that. And then we have the caster DPS set. It's not how this is going to look permanently, because I'm going to put the chest piece as the Eureka chest piece once I finally get enough fragments. But this entire area is set. I just need to do the weapon, and then eventually I'll get better accessories. And then the healer, of course, I don't have anything set up for healer yet. But I do have almost this all set. I just need to do the gemming, or materia melding. And of course the weapon and the accessories, but I digress. So, I noticed that there are a few things that I need to do to unlock some stuff. Like, I noticed that I don't have a PvP set up, so I can't do extra leveling. Hey! But there's something that I did not notice until I randomly saw a post on, online. I was just scrolling through my phone. So apparently, for the time being, for this patch, there is a free Fantasia. So this is, supposedly goes on until 7.2. So, I'm gonna go grab it right fast so I don't forget and end up losing it. Not like I'm gonna use the Fantasia anytime soon, but never know. So right here, we go to this Wandering Moogle. Well, what's this? You're able to see me? That's amazing, Kupo. Now, we should thus meet can surely be no coincidence, and so to mark this fateful occasion, I shall make you a gift of a magical potion. Fantasia, it's called, and legend holds that it allows you to alter your appearance. May it serve you well, Kupo. And you get a free file of Fantasia. Search for items. In J Chatterbox has it. I'm also working on getting the rest of these. So I've got Lambrix, Yin Yang, and Goldamar. So I need Skull, Molek, and Seto. Go figure, I've got half of it, but it's split. It happened on my main, too. We're gonna go back to... Wait, do I have a PvP? Primal Fear, Weaponsmith of Legend, Blood for Stone, King of the Hill, Daddy Little Girl, Root Rush, and let's talk about Hex. Alright, so I don't have any PvP missions. I also want to check out the PvP zone. Let's go to the Aetheryte Plaza, and we're gonna go over to here. My eye. Itchy. Is it this one? Like Civilized Men and Women, yeah, I think that's it. Alright. Come closer, Lieutenant Hero. I would prefer that this tale be heard by you and you alone. It concerns a sensitive subject with which you are doubtless well acquainted, the Battle of Cardno. I speak of that bloodbath which marked the end of the Sixth Astral Era, when both the 7th Legion and Allied forces were slaughtered by that winged abomination which did its utmost to destroy all we know and love. No part of Eorzea was untouched by the Elder Primal's rage, least of all the Cartnow Flats, which were ravaged, nay, remade in the fires of destruction. The flats are rendered an accursed wasteland, and all decent small folk know to keep a wide berth. Consequently, many question why the Eorzean Alliance continues to maintain a military presence in the region despite the personnel and material required to do so. Alagon ruins, that's why. Allied scholars have been studying them since their discovery following the battle, during which time the Cartnow Flats have been jointly administered by the 3 member nations of the Eorzean Alliance. This was an acceptable state of affairs for a time, but no longer. Ul'dah, Limsa, Lamenza, and Gridania have all formally asserted a claim to the territory. A diplomatic resolution is no longer possible. The matter is to be decided on the field of battle. Lest you fear that this marks the advent of total war, worry not. We are allies as ever and shall conduct ourselves accordingly. All hostilities will be confined to the disputed territories, and engagement shall be fought to submission, not death. So you see, you needn't hesitate to join the fray. Should you have the misfortune of facing a friend in battle, you will only be expected to subdue him, not kill him. Aye, that's right. I tell you all this because we need men and women of your caliber on the front line. These ruins are of vital importance to our nation's security, and we cannot surrender them to a foreign power. You need not make a decision now. All I ask that you speak with our man at the airship landing and listen to what he has to say. So we're going to go ahead and do that. But first... But wait, there's more. I gotta go check and see if I actually did my squadron duties. Nope. Tactical ability, contemporary. Nope. Don't want any of those. Those are all but. Let's go through these. So I got... One is bonus company seals, one is crafter scripts, one is gatherer scripts, and one is company seals. And then I've got... That's it. I need to start sending the others out. Or the one that I intend to keep, I should say. Send them out. I need to check and see if I have any, whatchamacallits. Recruits. Nope. No new enlistment papers. Yay. Alright, so we are going to go to the airship landing. We're going to go talk with our man in the... there. Then I'm going to go and unlock PvP, because there's a daily that you can do for the front line that gives you a huge amount of XP, no matter what class you're playing. So that'll get me a decent leveling up. I have been splitting between Astrologian, which is at 61, and Summoner / Scholar, which is at 44. So I technically can do like 2 Scholar missions. Scholar / Summoner missions each. Not a lot, but it's something. Lieutenant Hero, welcome. Come to join the fight, have we? Very good indeed. I'll admit some of the gear looks doofy, but some of it is actually nice looking. There's actually a few pieces that I wouldn't mind grabbing. There's also a lot of other stuff to grab. Not just glamour. Now, before we proceed, I must warn you, this isn't going to be like some jaunt in the Wolves' Den. You'll be pitted against wave after wave of fellow Alliance members in battle, and they won't care one whit that you're the Warrior of Light. This campaign will be long and brutal, and victories won today may be undone tomorrow. Consider the borderland ruins. We need only seize control of each ruin in the region, right? Wrong. Defense is paramount as well, for our rivals will muster forces to challenge our claims. It is for that reason we have established an airship route direct to the front line. Those who are ready and willing to fight will never want for transportation. Ah, but that look on your face bespeaks confusion. Are we at war or not? What is this bollocks about no killing? What in the seven hells is going on? Well, that's what you're thinking, yes? It's less war and more organized violence to resolve a territorial dispute. And yes, it is to be civilized violence. Killing Alliance members is strictly prohibited, though accidents have been known to happen, mind you. But you, of all people, have nothing to fear. You've escaped certain death more times than I can count. What are the odds you'll fail to do this time, eh? Do so this time, eh? Yay, PvP. So now... give you a buttload of XP and everything else. Whee! Alright, so... we're gonna go to Limsa. Actually, it's just port straight there. I'm gonna go to the PvP area and I'm gonna look up some of the few items that I want to actually pick up. I know, I'm wasting blasphemy. I wasted an Aetheryte ticket getting here. I'll waste another one to leave. Skip aboard the Wolf's Den. Care to join us? Yes, yes, yes. So this is where you're gonna go to get all your goodies. Did I already attune to here? I did. Sweet. Alright, so other miscellaneous. So they got the Catoblepes horns. They got Elucidate, Reprimand, some hairstyles, some pets, a mount, some cards, Orchestrion. Get rationing, glamours, get that. The Icarus and Regain feathers are wasted. I got some furnishings. Trying to see what I'd want to get. Materia you could pick up. That I'm weirded out that you can't only get those. And then they got weapons, but a lot of these weapons are kind of useless. Like even for glam, I'm not a fan of. But yeah. Trophy crystals. And then they got the kits. A lot of kits that you can get. Barding. Pet. And they got like accessories that are kind of lame. But yeah. That's pretty decent. Oh yeah. Kind of wish that you could do this. Just sprint, toggle on and off. And of course it toggles off automatically when you're in combat. Alright, so where was I at in this story? Revenant's Toll. So we're going back to Rising Stones in Mordona. We're gonna go do some heavy story today. This is gonna be a bit of a gonna be a bit of a treat for y'all. So instead of doing side stuff, we're just gonna do story. Okie dokie. Let's go ahead and do this. Get it out of the way. Because I want to start Shadowbringers. Because honestly, Shadowbringers really revitalized my love for the story. Like, it was like, oh yes, this is what I'm talking about. The Circus Trench. Ooh, White Oak and a Shadowbringers Orchestrion roll. I also need to work on my house. Good news, hero. We've had a stroke of luck in our search for the beacon. Apparently, our colleagues have stumbled across a hidden path leading down into the hollows around the base of the Crystal Tower. A path I doubt we'd ever have found had the Ironworks and the Suns not added their numbers to the party. Thanks to them, we have eager eyes aplenty down there, checking under rocks and peering into every nook and cranny. Still, it sounds like there's a lot of ground to cover. Then we'd better go and give them a hand. Sounds like tedious work, but not as tedious as waiting around, I suppose. Better go and give them a hand. Ah, yes, ginger ale. I love ginger ale. My thoughts exactly. The sooner we find this beacon, the sooner you can travel to wherever it is this mysterious voice is coming from. And the sooner we can work out how to help our friends. We have to find a way to wake them up, and before the Empire comes calling again, meaning we have no time to lose. Yep. There's a boat in North Silvertier waiting to ferry people to the site, so let's be on our way. I do have to admit that I think it was starting in Heavensward, I believe. They started gating areas. And I can kind of understand it, but at the same time it's still aggravating for me when they cut off part of a zone just until you get into the story. It does get a little annoying. Especially since I usually like to boost my crafters and gatherers first before going through the story. I like to explore with them, with the gatherers, and then, you know, craft the new stuff and then move on that way. But can't always do that because at some point you're going to get gated and you're stuck. Whether it's like resources or whatnot. Heading to the survey site, sir. It's on the eastern shore of the lake, and the swiftest way to get there is by boat. Yeah, I'll take the survey site boat. I like this music. I'll have to remember what it is. Look it up on the orchestrion roll or orchestrion and keep it on there as one of my permanent wins. I wish you could just earmark all the ones that you want to play and just have a full list.
Look how many people there are.
Instead of just having only 8. I think is what it is.
Should we get to it then? Pick up anything that seems the least bit device-like and we'll make ourselves a pile.
Well, if it isn't the hero of the hour, maybe you'll change our look. We've found bugger all without you.
Biggs! Wedge!
Aye, aye. Well, we could hardly say no to a call for aid from the Scions. Jesse call it the chief of some other business. So we'll be working twice as hard to make up for his not being here.
Thrice as hard, even.
Thank you, both of you. I'm sure we'll find that beacon in no time.
We don't need Sid here just to look for stuff. We need him to be crafty making. Yes, I just go goblin for a second.
I'm not seeing anything out here. Do you reckon you could squeeze in there, Wedge?
And get stuck halfway? No, thank you.
I could try if you like.
Tataru, no! We couldn't ask you to do that.
Oh, I'll be fine. This receptionist is not afraid to get her hands dirty.
I'm gonna find something. Go figure. This happens to be next to a crystal, too.
Sorry, I meant to say, the scholars haven't finished their preliminary assessment of the site yet, so we're not supposed to venture too far in. What's that you got there?
It's like a cog.
Now that looks promising.
Isn't that the Ironworks symbol? Counterfeiters?
Now I have you.
You are right.
What's happening?
Stay with me. Focus on my voice.
It's a trap.
Let expanse contract. Eon become instant.
Wait, this must be it. The device. Oh, this is supposed to happen.
Throw wide the gates that we may pass.
Oh, safe journey, warrior of light. Find our friends and bring them home.
Uh-oh.
The dawn's light will shine again.
Oh, do not look at me so.
Oh, they had to do that?
There's no freedom in that.
This is one battle you cannot fight. Away with you.
Your spirited accounts always comes in.
We did everything right. Everything that was asked of us, and still it came to this.
Oh, yeah. Damn. Oh, the memories are coming back.
Your time has not yet come.
Gotta be painful sleeping on my ex.
From endless dreams I awake. Something vague, yet urgent, calls me to action once more.
Oh, familiar face.
Rare to meet someone out here who's not a peddler themselves. What brings you into the wilds this time of night?
But it's bright as day. What do you mean this time of night?
Well, if it ain't the oldest joke in the book. Me grandad, God rest his soul, used to tell that one to the barman at kicking out time. And when, pray tell, did we last have a dark night? You rotten old drunk, you, he'd reply.
Yeah.
Over 100 bleeding years ago, that's when. You got that look down to a T. I'd almost think you meant it.
Yeah, I do.
Ah, got to you, did they? Poor beggar. That explains it then.
That's a big ass ring. I think that's the ring you get for the
I've roads to travel and wares to sell, but you best hurry along to the town nearby. Just head east through the trees and aim for the Shining Tower. You'll find the place soon enough. 'Tis the biggest settlement for malms around.
At least he's armed.
Go on now, friend. They'll take good care of you in the Crystarium.
Ah.
Dizzying heights it rises, the gleaming spire, its tip threatening to pierce the blinding canopy. There, it will all begin anew, between dark and light, the pure and the corrupt, the one true struggle.
Oh man, I just got fucking goosebumps all over again. Jesus criminy. It keeps coming on. Wave after wave of goosebumps. And apparently I can't mount right now. I could sprint though. Another motive to getting this on the road is so I can start gathering materials for crafter. Because everything's at 70 for crafting wise and plus. The only thing that's low is fishing, and I don't really do fishing that often. And carpenter already hit 80. Once I get everything at least to 80, I can craft my bed for my house. So I'll actually have something to sleep on. Instead of sitting in my chair.
Halt. Every face in this city I know. Yours, I do not.
Oh yeah, this is also the first X-Pack where the Hrothgar and the Viera were made playable.
This is the threshold of the Crystarium, stranger, and I am its gatekeeper. If you would enter, you will answer my questions. From where do you hail?
Gridania or the Source. I was gonna say the Source.
The source? What is this cryptic nonsense? Had you given me an honest answer, I would not have barred your way. We care little here for a person's place of origin. But instead, you chose concealment. And I will not suffer you to pass.
Nice shot.
That one had eaten. It must have gulped down the whole hand.
Oh,
Ring
shit.
and all.
The traveler. The merchant. Damn.
Everything all right, Captain?
Quite all right, my lord. Just a stray sin eater, and a weak one at that.
I see. Weak or not, we should be on the lookout for more. But I see you've met my guest. I will escort him to the Crystarium myself, if you've no objections.
Another of your mysterious friends, is it? I should have known. Very well. I'll inform the others your guest is to be given the run of the city. Pray forgive my less than cordial welcome. May the rest of your stay with us be a pleasant one.
Come with me. I will answer whatever questions you have when we are somewhere more private. Right then, before we plunge into the wheres and wherefores, let me first thank you for answering my summons. I had intended to bring you directly to my personal quarters, but I fear my aim was slightly off. That you are still able to make the crossing unharmed is a great relief. And so, we come to the question of where. The realm in which you now find yourself belongs to one of the 13 reflections, or shards. The first, to be precise, even if its inhabitants are largely oblivious to the fact. As to wherefore, having been awarded the rather grandiose title of Crystal Exarch, I, in my capacity as caretaker of the Crystarium, thought to seek the aid of you and your companions.
Do you have any idea how much trouble you've caused? I'm gonna go ahead and go out the other scions here because I'm gonna try and remain neutral.
That is a question with no simple answer. But all shall be explained in due course, I promise you. Let us begin with the glaring skies up above. Here in the first, the world has been all but consumed by primordial light. It began a century ago, by this realm's reckoning. A luminous flood swallowing everything in its path. More than 9/10 of this star was lost. And the fortunate few who survived are hounded by abominations born of that catastrophe even now. Sin Eaters, we call them. The creature you saw earlier was one such monstrosity. It was to save the first from this menace that I learned to bridge the rift between worlds. That I might call upon the aid of the greatest of heroes. And though it meant depriving a world of its champion, I had to try, for in saving the first, you would bring salvation to the source as well. But what manner of host harangues his guests in the middle of the road? Let us continue our talk within the Crystarium.
I also liked a lot of the areas around here. And the lore.
Vibrant city. The sole sanctuary for the living in a world all but resigned to oblivion. Each stone was laid with hope. The town itself a symbol, a monument to defiance in the face of death. No would-be hero could fail to answer its call. For who among us does not yearn for salvation?
And here we are. Welcome, my friends of the Crystarium. City of the First. Now, a full and frank discussion in the privacy of my study would seem to be in order. But I think our conversation would be more meaningful were you first to gain a firmer grasp of the situation here. To that end, I would like you to visit a few of the Crystarium's civic leaders and glean something of this world and its predicament. As you can see, this path will take you directly to the Aetheryte, convenience with which I am sure you are only too familiar. Being the rightful object of my summoning spell, you should in theory be able to reach all the way back along your etheric trail and find a connection to the source, believe it or not. I strongly suggest you complete this attunement before venturing any further. After you have done so, walk up the steps next to the Aetheryte and head out to the left and arrive in the Crystal Mean. This is where you'll find our collective of crafters and gatherers, as well as their spokeswoman, Catelys, one of the people I should like you to meet. Another is Morin. To reach him in his Cabinet of Curiosity, you'll want to avoid the aforementioned steps, take the exit on the left, and simply continue straight along and down until you come to the large doors at the end of the path. The third and final person I should like you to meet is Bragi, our man in charge of trade and distribution. He is to be found in the markets, which you can access from the opposite side of the Aetheryte Plaza. In seeking out each of my colleagues, you will visit the major districts of the city, and hopefully gain a feel for the place. I trust my directions were simple enough. Crystal clear. Right and down and where now? I'm going to say crystal clear. Ha, very good. I concede the layout of the Crystarium owes more to historic necessity than planning, but I'm sure you'll learn its twists and turns before long. In all honesty, the true challenge may be in finding the right way to approach the citizens. As you discovered during your encounter with the captain, the people of this world are unaware of the existence of other stars and will struggle to accept the truth of your origin. That being the case, when they ask whence you hail, as they inevitably will, I suggest you claim to share a homeland with the Crystal Exarch. There's an unspoken rule here about peering too deeply into that particular mystery. Heard. When you've finished making the rounds, pray meet me in the large courtyard in the center of town. Till then. Alright, so I've got to go and grab... I was about to say, it shouldn't be dark. Go and grab these aetherites. By focusing your senses, you detect the flow of vastly distant currents of aether. Your connection to these energies is faint but stable, and should be allow teleportation to aetherites in the source. Cool. I think they kind of forced you to do that before you could do anything else. New to the city, friend. The spinning-headed wide eyes give you away. Welcome. My name is Bragi, and I'm the master of these markets. They gave the district another official title, but I'm not in the habit of using it. Too florid by half. In any case, our merchants stock a range of equipment for humans such as yourself, so finding something in your size shouldn't be a problem. I'm sorry, did you say humans? I'm actually a Hior. Say humans. Something wrong. Let's see if we can straighten this out. See those two in front of us? The shorter one is a hume, like you. And the taller one is an elf. That sturdy individual over there is a Galgant, whilst the one with the horns is a Dran. And then you have the large, scaly chaps with long tails and a knack for raising livestock. Those would be the Zun. Hamalja. Which is apparently not the name you know them by. Now I'm curious to know which far-flung region you hail from. Ah, the same as the Exarch, eh? Well, that explains it. You don't get much further flung than that. Had a few of your lot pass through in recent years, and despite their obvious learning, they floundered over the simplest things. But not to worry, should you find yourself confused by the local language or customs, I'll be here to answer your questions. Your exchange with Bragi has taught you about the peoples of the First. Did you notice that? It said something about similar people throughout the years. Yeah, one more over here to grab. I like collecting all the aetherites in every town that I meet. Ooh, the Clan Nutsy. I'm gonna need to get acquainted with them soon too. Try to get as many unlocks as possible would be nice. I'm practically halfway through level in this spot anyways, which is hilarious. You know, there's probably a thing up the top of me, that's where that is at. Excuse me, sir. Are you recently come to the city, perchance? I'm quite familiar with our civic roles, and you see in, well, what I mean to ask is, have you brought any books with you? A rumpled scroll even, a scrap of scribbled on parchment? No. My apologies. Literature is something of an obsession of mine, as well as a profession. Librarian Morin at your service, and this humble collection is known as the Cabinet of Curiosity. As your powers of perception have likely informed you, my colleagues and I are responsible for curating all manner of tomes, documents, and other vehicles for the written word. Hey, a fellow curator. I like to curate art in all its forms. As horrific as the loss of life and land wrought by the flood unquestionably was, the damage to recorded knowledge was no less catastrophic. We few do all we can to preserve what wisdom survived. But tell me, what brings you to the cabinet today? Looking for any title in particular? Mayhap a spot of academic research? Oh-ho, so you're an interest in modern history. Splendid. A thorough review of recent events can often yield novel perspectives, I quite agree. If you would prefer something visual to accompany the account, then I think I have an illustrated history book for children somewhere. Just a moment and I'll fetch it for you. I would love to be able to build a big-ass library in my house like this. And here we are. Would you like to pull up a chair? Maybe make yourself more comfortable. On with the lesson, then. A 100 years ago, or near enough not to matter, villains known as the Warriors of Light slew the Shadowkeeper, the Steward of Darkness. In the wake of this tainted deed, light began to pour into the world as if from unseen cracks. It pulled and swelled without cease until the day an enormous blinding wave rose up and swept across our star. We called this calamity the Flood of Light. Everything it touched was leached of life and vigor, leaving naught behind but a luminous wasteland. Yet just when it seemed that all would be lost, a savior appeared before us. The Oracle of Light. She stood twixt us and approaching doom, and by her power did she stay the flood. Thus was Norvrant, and Norvrant alone spared the fate of erasure. Tragedy would, however, arrive in another form. From the blasted emptiness descended horrors of strange and terrible aspect to bedevil the few folk who survived. These sin-eaters were light incarnate, and their fulgent presence stole the night from Norvrant's sky. Even now they circle the remaining bastions of civilization, ever on the hunt for us, ever hungering for our flesh. And thus did the world become what it is. Should you ever wish to hear the tale again, I would be glad to retell it for you. Or if you would rather I speak of other matters, that too would be of my pleasure. I should be glad of the company. Your exchange with Morin has taught you about the Flood of Light. Stairwell is for weaklings. Pardon me for clearing my throat constantly, but I just seem to be having issue, like usual. Merchant and Mender. Ah, you don't have anything. Or the lead mates. Script exchange. I need to hit these aetherites though. Rare to see a place so well stocked with goods, isn't it? But not here. I'm going to guess you're new to our fair city. Well, for what it's worth, you've chosen a fine sanctuary. The Exarch can throw up a barrier if the Sin Eaters come knocking, so it's a damn sight safer in here than it is out there. Safer and more civilized, too, thanks to us in the mean. We work together to procure materials and resources, and craft the goods which make city life possible. This is the place to visit if you need a coat mended or a kettle forged. Just don't go thinking it'll be handed to you on a plate like those Yulmoran layabouts. Here in the Crystarium, we work for a living. Though I see you're no stranger to honest labor, you don't have that whiff of indolence that about you like some folk I've met. Still, I can't quite pin down your profession. Where is it you're from? One of the Exarch's countrymen, you say? I see. Well then, I'll work twice as hard to make you feel welcome. Our city wouldn't even exist if it weren't for him, and any friend of his is a friend of ours. It's really quite incredible when you think about it. They say his grand magic summoned the Crystal Tower into existence, pulled the entire thing out of thin air. It wasn't long before droves of refugees began congregating around its base, desperate for shelter after losing their homes to the flood. And that's how the Crystarium began. At the Exarch's invitation, buildings started going up, and with the help of some curious relics brought forth from the tower, the place gradually expanded into the thriving metropolis you see today. Cities stood here for decades now, yet the eldest among us swear the Exarch looked exactly the same as he did back then. He is indeed a man of many mysteries, but for all of his secrecy, he has never yet let us down. So if he and you wish to remain silent about your shared homeland, then the folk here will respect your wish for privacy. I am, however, more than a little curious to see any crafting talent you might be hiding. If you've aught to contribute on that front, be sure to come back and visit once you've had a chance to settle in. Just ask for Catelys, and I'll find you a niche here in the Crystalline Mean. You can help us keep the cogs of the city greased and turning. Your exchange with Catelys has taught you about life in the Crystarium. Oh yeah, I forgot I can't mount here. Blip. And I gotta go. Hey, it's a recording node. Ha! Alagon technology. I'm gonna go up here so I get the next aetherite. I was about to say last aetherite, but then I remember there's one over by the Crystal Tower that I haven't gotten yet. And then you can just do this. Yippee-ki-yay, mother trucker. I think this is the last one. Yep, it is. You have attuned yourself to all the Aethernet shards in the Crystarium. Lakeland is now accessible as an Aethernet destination. Yay! Lakeland is kind of a throwback to another game I used to play when I was a kid called Lagoon. It's like an RPG. Kind of like it's an open world, open combat. It was fun, almost kind of top-down-ish, a little bit. Kind of like the way Link Between Worlds was for the Super Nintendo back in the day. Had some pretty banging music, but of course, you know, a lot of the Super Nintendo games had some pretty crazy music. It was kind of a difficult game, though. If you weren't paying attention to certain things, like there was one area where if you didn't have enough gold, you were pretty much screwed because you had to, I think you had to buy a fur mantle, and if you didn't buy it, you couldn't progress, and there was a lot of places where you couldn't backtrack to previous areas. So once you went to the new area, you were stuck there. So you can kind of gate yourself. And you needed the fur mantle to survive the cold of the dungeon area there. Because once you went in there without the fur mantle, you took like constant dot damage from the freezing cold until you either got left or died. It was pretty annoying, but it was also I loved the game. It was a good it was a good experience in my opinion. How did you fare? Did my colleagues help you form a clearer picture of this world and its people? Yep. Yes, it seems you were treated to a most thorough introduction. I understand it was something of a chore, but 'twas necessary that you grasp these things before we proceed. As for the Crystal Tower's origin, you may have noted that details were sparse. The structure is, in fact, the selfsame one you know from the source, transported to the first in its entirety. It was my first attempt at breaching the boundaries between worlds, something of a trial run for your eventual crossing. And although I did not know which era I tore it from, I do know that its arrival served to set the wheels of fate in motion. Travelers of Norvrant. You've done as I requested, and I learned something of the world in which you find yourself. Now it's time I fulfilled my half of the bargain and explained what has befallen to your comrades. That is a conversation I would rather have in the privacy of my quarters, however. I must go on ahead to the tower and organize a few things, but I shall see that the guard knows to admit you. The tower's gate lies open then. Just like that, then, Grahatia is. I am not familiar with that name. Is there something I should know? An extraordinary tale. But I'm afraid I found no such individual residing in the tower when it passed into my care. Mayhap we can revisit that mystery another time. For now, I think it best that we focus on the present. Greetings, sir. The Exarch awaits you within. Enter the Crystal Tower. I also kind of wish we could get crystal walls for the housing. Not that all this gold junk, but like just actually making the walls look like crystal would be kind of cool. I'd also like to be able to turn my house into a crystal tower. You know, Square Enix would love it if you got on that.
Welcome to the Ocular, my private study. We can speak here without fear of being overheard. I have much to explain, but the truths which I must touch upon in doing so would cause only distress and confusion to the people of this world. Pray keep that in mind. Now, I am sure you are desperate to know the fate of your fellow scions. To put it simply, they are here in the first. Their arrival, however, was not as recent as you may imagine. Here, time flows at a different pace from that of the source. In the space of a single hour in your home world, an entire year might pass in the first, and the reverse could also be true. The pace fluctuates without rhyme or reason, and it cannot be predicted. That said, we seem to be entering a period of near equivalence, and thus, for the moment, you need not overly concern yourself with the passage of time. As for your companions, however, Yustola and Urianger have dwelled here for 3 winters, all told, while Thancred's count stands at 5. Even our more recent arrivals, Alphino and Alize, have lived in the First for almost a year. My intention had been to summon only you, but the art of reaching across worlds has proven exceedingly difficult to master. Thus it was that my fumbling hand closed upon those to whom your fate is most closely bound as well. As they were not the object of my summons, their transference was incomplete. Though they may appear to possess corporeal bodies, they are, in truth, merely spirits that one can see and touch. Consequently, while you yourself will be able to pass between worlds with relative freedom, they will not. Much as it grieves me, they are stranded here, unable to return.
What have they been doing all this time? Then find a way to send them back.
We spent every waking hour searching for a way to reverse the summoning. In the beginning, at least. As you may have surmised, however, our efforts met with little success. And then we all but abandoned the endeavor once Urianger shared with us the vision he had witnessed during his journey through the rift. In that chaotic no-man's land between realms, time and space warp and blend in unexpected ways. What Urianger saw was the future. That which would one day come to pass. In his vision of tomorrow, the First was rejoined with the Source. This collision of worlds brought about the 8th umbral calamity and the deaths of countless multitudes. Amongst those who perished, Urianger clearly saw the fall of the Scion's mightiest champion. He watched you die. And thus did the Scions embrace their exile, and began searching this world for a means to forestall the coming catastrophe in yours. Their souls are stranded in the First, yes, but they have fought on, desperate to save their home and you from destruction. Nor have their efforts been in vain, for it was they who finally established that the elimination of the Sin Eaters will indeed serve to prevent the calamity. Considering these circumstances of our meeting, you would be forgiven for doubting my version of events. And so, before all else, I would suggest you track down your comrades and hear the tale from their lips. I shall of course be happy to assist in these reunions, and you need not make any decisions regarding your involvement until you are certain of where you stand. Meanwhile, I promise I will not rest until I have found a way to help your friends return home. What say you? Have I earned your trust for the moment, at least?
For the moment, but I'll see you keep that promise for want of a better choice.
Excellent. You will not regret this. With that settled, we shall have to see about getting you ready for the road. Traveling across the rift has no doubt left you weary. I will arrange for a room where you might rest in comfort. While it's being prepared, perhaps I can show you around.
The Crystarium boasts a number of residential districts, but I have been informed that a room has just become available at the Pendants, which, as it turns out, is perfect. Our path there will take us past the markets, and I was hoping to give you my own introduction to their wares. Come along. Oh, whoop. Well, we'll use these.
This is the Musica Universalis, the commercial heart of the Crystarium. What you might need to prepare for your journeys can be purchased here. Ah, yes. You must be curious about the currency. Fear not. The gil you carry will serve you well enough. Each nation once minted its own coins, but 'twas all a jumbled mess following the flood. After much debate, the local merchants eventually elected to revert to the old ways, wherein a coin's value was decided by the worth of its metal. As for a unit of measurement, we agreed upon the term gil, a word borrowed from coins uncovered within the Crystal Tower here. And as our traders peddled their wares across the land, so too did our usage of gil become common practice. From what your stola tells me, a standard coin from the source equates to exactly 1 gil here, or near enough not to matter. Our way of life has benefited greatly from the artifacts we recovered from the tower, some of which may be familiar to you.
Tombstones.
But I fear it would not be practical for us to provide everything to which you are accustomed. You shall need a means to access the commodities of your homeworld. A Van Kerm Sin?
Yes, I'm here! Of course I'm here! What amusements do you have for me today?
My dear Feo Ul, paragon of pixie kind. For you, I have the most vital task. This fine gentleman is a friend from a distant realm. And we have need of a means to ferry things back and forth from his home. Might you be able to assist us in this matter?
My very own Tinkerbell.
You came from beyond, didn't you? From beyond the rift? How wonderfully exciting! What a brave and reckless and marvellous thing you did! You've the heart of a pixie, you do. After careful consideration, I have decided to grant you my assistance. Make a pact with me and the fun can begin. But answer me this, traveller. Did your garments come with you when you crossed over? Your teeth? Your nails? Just as I thought! Then you've a good stout connection with your home through which all your belongings, great and small, may easily pass. From this moment forth I will be your Isne Fis, and you my Snay Yak. Like the branch which sprouts from the sapling, our bond will flow unbroken from one to the other. Raise your hand. Tis done. We are bound now, dearest sapling. Come then. Make your request. Tell me your desire. I wish to visit this world of yours.
Mayhap a message to your friends in the source to inform them of your safe arrival.
Send the message to Tatsu or to Kryl. I'm gonna send it to Tatsu.
Consider it done.
As you heard, that was Feo Uld of the Pixies. Their kind possess an affinity for magic akin to that of arcane beings. They rarely show themselves in populated areas, but Feo is insatiably curious even by Pixie standards, and seems to have taken a liking to the Crystarium. Right, we were going to organize a room for you, weren't we? Come along.
As a result of your pact with Fael, you now have access to delivery Moogle's market boards and summoning bells while in the first. Basically getting myself situated in here. We're gonna go over here. Whoop! Ah, there you are. I was just finalizing the matter of your accommodation. You'll have a private room here at the Pendants for the duration of your stay to make use of as you see fit. When you are ready to retire, the manager will show you to your lodgings. Pray rest and recuperate, and we shall reconvene in the ocular anon. I believe that covers all of the practical concerns. Thank you for answering my call, hero. We are denied the comforting blanket of night, but may peaceful dreams attend you nonetheless. A pleasure to meet you, sir, and welcome to your new home at the Pendants. Your room is ready if you'd care to retire. Yes, let's retire. For the time being.
I know you. You're the warrior of light from the source.
And who are you? The warrior of darkness.
What? Did you just... You can hear me? Oh, gods, how long has it been? That was what I called myself in your world. The Warrior of Darkness. My real name is Ardbert. I used an alias in the source. A daft one, looking back. If you recall my tale, it was my comrades and I who caused the flood. We thought our home doomed. And so we listened to the Ascians. Let them guide us to the source and try to hasten their goddamned ardor. I remember when we fell, defeated by you and yours. I remember our audience with Minfilia, how she listened to our pleas and returned our souls to the First. The flood was poised to swallow Norvrant. Minfilia and my friends, they surrendered what little they had left to hold it back. Just faded away, leaving me to bear witness. Tell me, do you know the year? How much time has passed since we caused the flood?
Oh, jeez.
100 years. 100 long years.
You're not gonna be able to pick it up.
My hands find no purchase. My gestures catch no eye, and my pleas, be they whispered or screamed, reach not a single ear. I am a shade, cursed to do naught but drift. I feel as if I've been walking forever. I hardly noticed when my mind and body began to fray at the edges. Then bang! My senses were sharp again. I felt like a fish being reeled in, and before I knew it, I found myself in this room. Why is it that you can see me? What are you even doing here, come to that? You were summoned to save the first. A waste of time. This world is beyond saving, like those who try to save it. Muddled as my mind may be, I've not forgotten that. But if fate has brought me to you, the one person in this God's forsaken world who can see and hear me, then perhaps there is a reason I endured. If I can find out why I was left behind, then maybe I can bring this journey of mine to an end. Well, I'll be watching, Warrior of Light. But do me a favor. Be careful out there. This world has had its fill of heroes.
Now instead of having a dragon following me, I've got a ghost of a warrior of light. That is definitely not clothing you want to be sleeping in. Master Hero, the Exarch awaits you within.
Ah, how did you find your new quarters? I trust you were able to rest?
Well enough, thank you. I had a ghostly visitor.
I was not aware the room was haunted, and you were rather tired. Well, should you receive another visitation, be sure to let me know. Now, let us return to the subject of the Scion's whereabouts. This map shows the lands of Norvrand, the only area to be spared the flood of light.
The music a little bit kind of reminds me of Chrono Trigger.
The Crystarium is here, in the region known as Lakeland. To To the north is the fairy kingdom of Il-Mec. That is where you'll find Urianger. To the east lies the once prosperous civilization of Rak-Tika. Your Stola is stationed there, in the heart of the forest. Alas, neither location can be reached without considerable difficulty. As such, I would suggest you first seek out one of the twins, each of whom is stationed but a short flight from the Crystarium. Alphino is on Calusia, an island off the western shore. It is home to a city called Yulmore, where the rich and privileged while away their days in idleness. For his part in furthering our cause, Alphino journeyed there to meet with the citizenry and forge alliances. From what I hear, he has since kept himself busy gathering information around the main settlement. Alize, meanwhile, traveled south to the arid wastes of Armarang. They lie upon the very edge of the inhabitable world, where the flood of light was halted. Those who dwell there live in constant fear of attack by the Sin Eaters. In contrast to her brother, Alize felt that her energies would better be spent learning about the enemy, and thus she sells her services as a guard, both to hone her skills and gather information on our foe. So, will it be Calicia or Armarang? It matters not which you choose to visit first. Simply inform me once you have made your decision, and I will see to it that you are provided with a suitable mount. Ah, but you must be wondering about Thancred. He has taken up with a new companion, and is presently engaged as a wandering hunter of Sin Eaters. Being ever on the move, his whereabouts are often difficult to ascertain, but I am certain your paths will cross ere long.
I think I picked Amarang first when I decided to play the game originally. I think I'm going to go to Kalusia first. Oh, you eventually go to both of them. In search of Alphino. You will visit Alphino and Kalusia then. Excellent. As I mentioned, your destination is an island off the west coast, so you will need a mount capable of making the journey. Here is a letter of introduction presented to Genmai, the master of beasts at Temenos Rookery, and he will take care of you. When you see Alphino, be sure to pass on my warmest regards. In search of Alice. Apparently I can pick both of these up. Ready to depart for Amarang, Alice will be overjoyed to see you safe. I know she was particularly concerned for your well-being. She impressed upon me how regrettable the timing of her summoning was, repeatedly. I only hope that my part in sending you to her will garner me some measure of forgiveness. Here, this is a letter of introduction addressed to a man named Kassar, to the master of a merchant caravan. There are few who know the ways of the desert as well as he does. Find him at the Amaro launch, and he will see that you reach your destination. Actually, it kind of tugs at my heartstrings. I'll still go Alphino's way first, but there's Alphino. Nuts to you, I have to get that first. The sights of the first. So I need to get both of those unlocks. Nuts to you. Oh, you're you're him, aren't you? Haldor has been asking after you. You know Haldor, eh? Clan Nutsies, man? If you're keen to hunt the deadliest marks for the biggest bounties, then you might want to seek him out. You'll find him by the board over in the Rookery, though if I were you, I'd steer clear of that whole nasty business. Bad for one's health it is. Oh, where is it at? Is it downstairs? I kind of doubt it is. Probably above me. Yeah, it's a... actually, maybe not above me. Yeah, it's above me. Bollocks. I'm not good with this area. Could it be the esteemed warrior himself? Well met, sir, well met. You are a very hard man to track down. By all accounts, yet here you are in the flesh. How very blessed am I to make your acquaintance. I am Haldor of Clan Nutsi. Perhaps you have heard of us. We have certainly heard of you, and I can tell you that. A fighter through and through. I'll come right to it. Interested in joining the clan? Apologies. Only a fool would sign up without knowing what we're about. You're no fool, I can see that. The clan is how shall I put it, an association of adventurous souls who make a living hunting certain notable fiends. Marks, as we are wont to call them. Surely you're familiar with the concept. Norvrent is home to myriad living creatures, many of which pose a threat to our good people. Thus did the Exarch, at least I think it was him, in his boundless wisdom, called upon the Settlement Council to develop a framework that would encourage motivated hunters to dispatch these menaces. To wit, you brave souls who slay marks shall receive due compensation. Not at all a bad arrangement, eh? If you've a mind to reap the benefits, speak with Zyle over there. She'll record your name in the ledger and see you registered as a clan member. May I help you, sir? Sign me up. At the urging of Haldor, was it? I see. You are plainly more than capable of acquitting yourself well enough in battle, so I have no grounds to refuse you. I hereby accept your application to join Clan Nutsi. Check the board for the latest bills. The tougher the mark, the better the reward. Not what you like or nothing at all. However, you may only undertake hunts designated appropriate for a member of your current status, a novice. The clan is disinclined to allow unproven hunters to commit suicide by mark. Once you have achieved a sufficient measure of success, you will be permitted to pursue more dangerous fiends. Do try not to die before then. Yay. As a new member of Clan Nutsi, you are permitted to take bills for 1 nut clan marks from the clan hunt board. Defeat the monsters described on the bills and you will be rewarded with tokens which can be exchanged for exclusive items. To exchange tokens for exclusive items, speak with either Zyle in the Crystarium or with Ilfroy in Yulmore. New quests and 2 clan nut marks will become available from Haldor on the Crystarium upon reaching level 73, which I can go ahead and do now. 2 nuts, 2 nutty. Still at it, are we? I thought you might be. Aye, I felt you had a bright future with Clan Nutsi. Sure enough, you're not dead yet, which is more than I can say about some other poor sods. I've even heard whispers that you've caught the eye of our Yulmoran patrons. I haven't even been there yet. What? No one told you? The whole system we've got here in the Crystarium first originated in Yulmore. Once upon a time, a few perfumed gentlemen were bored out of their wits and desperate for entertainment, and so they pulled their considerable resources and started placing bounties on dangerous beasts to attract hunters. Their original intent was apparently to derive amusement from the gruesome deaths of those foolish and greedy enough to pursue these marks. A reprehensible pastime, wouldn't you agree? But people are stronger and more clever than you may realize. Than many realize. Like you, 1 nut marks hardly pose a challenge to you now, do they? All the more reason to pester Zyle for permission to take on 2 nut bills. So Haldor thinks you're ready for them to take 2 nut bills now, does he? How intriguing. Oh, why not? We're down a few ranking hunters, so perhaps you can make up for their absence. Do bear in mind that should you die whilst in pursuit of a mark, you will receive no compensation. You will also be dead, which would be an inconvenience for the both of us. We have great expectations for you, Hunter. You're now permitted to take bills for 2 nut marks on the clan hunt board. New quests and 3 nut clan marks will become available from Haldor and the Crystarium upon reaching level 76. So there's a lot of things to pick up. So pets, a striking dummy, orchestrion roll, a mount. More materia. Bronkin gear. There's actually this helmet. If you get this helmet, you can kind of do a dark magician kind of glam. The start of one. And then they have Deep Shadow, which is the other stuff. Deep Shadow is more sinister looking kind of gear. Alright, so I need to figure out how to... Up, there it is. I kind of figured it was up top. We're gonna go up top right fast, and then we'll go to Alphino. Then I can just jump right down afterwards. Erlolf. Hold a moment, sinner. You're not from around here, are you? A fellow wandering soul, an eternal inhabitant of the road? I thought so. Erlolf's the name. My aspiration is to travel the whole wide world, though it's a fair bit smaller than it used to be, so as far as dreams go, it's a lot more realistic than you might think. But danger still lurks in every corner and around every bend. And even so, this sinner's got nerves of steel. He's a born explorer, Erlolf. There's no land too distant or a place too forbidden, aye. Well, what is that I spy poking out of your pack? A log, if I'm not mistaken. Give it over, if you would. Aha, I thought so. A record of fantastic vistas and unforgettable sights. We're kindred spirits, a morrow of a feather. Excellent, excellent. 'Tis only right that I share with you such wondrous experiences as you have with me. A collection of amazing vistas I catalogued myself, and I guarantee will rival the best you have ever seen. Norvrant may be a shadow of its former glory, but there is still joy and excitement to be found if you know where to look, my friend. So I implore you, look, and look some more. Follow in my footsteps, savor every moment of the journey, and then when you feel you have discovered every secret this realm has to offer, start again. I promise you won't be disappointed. Sightseeing has been expanded. Shadowbringer's entries have been added to your sightseeing log. You must be a disciple of war or magic of level 70 or above to record Shadowbringer vistas. Travel to the location indicated and fulfill the necessary conditions, and you will complete the entry for the vista, earning experience points in the process. Use your wits in the notes provided by Erlolf to identify these stunning sights and the proper way to appreciate them, and see Norvrant as only the greatest explorers have seen her. Can't mount up here. I hope this is the one I'm looking for. Your face is unknown to me. What business have you at my rookery? Huh. Signed by the Exarch, no less. Yes, I can provide you with an Amaro for passage to Kalusia. I will pick you out a friendly whelp. An Amaro, you say? Not a chocobo, then. That's right. Mounts like my gray friend over there are a common sight in these parts. But I gather you hail from further afield, more accustomed to chocobos, perchance. I hear there are a few places where they ride little else. Huh. Seeing as you are plainly unaccustomed to riding Amaro, I think it best I accompany you on this flight myself. Any Zun worthy of the name could do it, of course, but the Exarch sent you to me. Ensuring you arrive safely is my responsibility. Gather your things and meet me at the Amaro landing. One of the junior tamers will attend to you while I ready the mounts. I guess I could go to the other part. Oh, up. Right here. Nope, not the pendants. While I'm here. Huh? If you come looking for work, I might have a spot for another guard. Oh, a friend of the Exarch. Hoping to meet someone in Amarang, are you? Then I shall be your guide. I was about to set off for our outpost there, as a matter of fact, so we can leave right away, assuming you have everything you need. You want to fly in Amaro to Kalusia. Well, I suppose if Master Genmai is going with you. Wait here, please. The Master should be along with the Mount shortly. You can now travel to Kalusia. Speak with the aspiring Amaro table to fly to the island. You can also use your Aether Compass to assist with locating Aether Currents in new regions. The Aether Compass can be found under Collection in the Duty section of the main menu. Yay.
The whistling breeze, mute. The pounding surf, frozen. Time itself takes a breath. At light's edge, all is perfectly still. The world captured in a painting, locked in a moment. Music, faint and fleeting, drifts coastward on the lifeless air. And in the distance, beyond the broken earth, a city beckons.
Bot. We are arrived. This is Cracked Shell Beach on the eastern coast of Kalusia. You should be safe here for the present. Compared to the mainland, Sin-Eater attacks are far less prevalent, and the native beasts are not any more dangerous than elsewhere. It is the people you should be wary of. Spy you that city in the distance? That is Yulmore, the island's main settlement. It rivals the Crystarium in scale and was once an ally in our battle against the Abominations. For years, the Yulmoran elite have fancied themselves the masters of what remains of our broken world. They have gone as far as to offer the leaders of our settlements their protection, if we bend the knee. But to say their ideals are questionable would be putting it mildly. The Crystarium is one among many who resist their heavy-handed authority, and while we are not at war, our relationship with Yulmore is strained at best. It may be wise to conceal your ties with the Exarch during your stay here, especially in the vicinity of the city. Understood. I am glad we understand each other. Now, the Exarch has instructed me to divulge a secret that should make finding your friend a good deal easier. Listen closely. I'm going to start leveling quick, especially when I start doing dungeons. It's still tied. If you head south along the coast, you'll eventually come to a fisherman's shack. A friend of the Crystarium lives there, a man who goes by the name of Ivor. Ivor keeps an eye on everything that happens in Kalusia and will be able to point you in the right direction. Just hand him a sprig of thyme that will let him know that you can be trusted. Here, this should be enough. Find your friend. I will stay here with the Amaro until you are ready to return. Hobgoblins. I can't fly again, man. Oh, I'm gonna have to add my Aether Compass back in, aren't I? Yeah, I'm gonna have to add the Aether Compass back in. So, collection. There we go. Put it down there. Hey, there's an Aether Current. Speaking of which, I need it. I have to kill this hobgoblin, probably. But I don't want to... Okay, good, it went away. I don't want to kill it. What you after, fish? Crab? Think I've got an eel in a barrel somewhere? If you've a taste for them. Oh, I do love a bit of thyme. Chuck some in the pan and it's like a bloody festival of flavor. Now, what is it that I can do for you? Can't say as there's been any major upsets to report these past few weeks. Alphino, eh? I know the one. Our young champion of the downtrodden. Gilmore's richer than all of Norvrant put together, but it's a different story for them as live outside the city. Most spend their waking moment just trying to stay alive, which makes your friend's dedication to helping others stand out all the more. I can hazard a guess as to where he is now, get a message to him. But you'll need somewhere quiet to meet, away from prying eyes. Make for Stilltide. That's the fishing village just up the path there. You're looking for a rundown excuse for a tavern the locals call the Leaky Keel. Wait there and I'll see that Alphinaud joins you. Yeah, I'm just gonna end up gaining a bunch of XP. I've got another 20 minutes or so I might actually hit 75. Local merchant. I always try to check for items. Delivery Moogle, Mender. Hit up that Aetheryte, baby. Yay. This is a tiny ass tavern. This is your first time in a tavern. It's customary to buy a drink if you mean to loiter. What'll you be having? Ale, mead, or water? We'll go mead. Fine choice. And what'll you be paying with? Gil. Well now, those are exotic. Where did you come by coins like that? I'm sorry, dear. I don't doubt they have value, but I don't have a touchstone to test their purity, and I'm not about to go begging for one from the neighbors, so we'll just have to come to some other arrangement. Ah, here's an idea. There's a common to the north where we grow our vegetables, but lately the pests have been eating more of them than we have. What do you say to a bit of extermination work? I want you to squash any vermin you find, then visit the caretaker and give him an earful from me for sleeping on the job. He'll be in this old silo next to the fence, snoring like as not. Do that for me and you can laze about here as long as you like. I'm trying to avoid all these. Kind of hoping that me being like almost halfway through wouldn't have to worry about pulling anything, but guess I was wrong. Blighted crop. Eat my crits. No response. Maybe you need to knock louder. No response. Perhaps the occupant is hard of hearing. Perhaps you need to just break the door down. You hear a faint squeaking from the room beyond. Time to burst in and save the day, brave adventurer. No one is home, and judging by the lack of furniture, they haven't been for some time. The gnawed scraps of vegetables on the floor suggest rats have taken up residence in their absence. Welcome back, dear. What did that good-for-nothing caretaker have to say for himself? Gone? Huh. Must have left to join the rest of the hopefuls. In Gate Town, outside Yilmore. You don't have a clue what I'm talking about, do you? And here I was thinking you were another dreamer. Well, never mind all that. Take a seat wherever you like, dear. You've more than earned it. I'll even throw in another drink on the house.
And how is business today, Mistress Theva?
Oh, frenetic. Look, I have a new customer.
Tis good to see you, my friend. The barley seeds you wanted. They should produce a better harvest than the last.
What, just like that? Oh, Alfino, you really are a dear. Well, I'd best be tidying up some of those empty shacks before the pests move in. Keep an eye on the place while I'm out, eh?
It seems an age since last we spoke. Not since the prisoner exchange in Doma. And Yotsu. It has been even longer for me, of course, if you count the days I've spent here. But the time has only added to the relief I feel seeing you safe and well.
Me? I was more worried about you. We thought we'd lost you.
Huh. Alize said much the same thing. I don't think I've ever had such a scolding. But I believe an exchange of news is in order. Come, tell me of your arrival and all that came before.
Gonna be quite the retelling.
I see. Both the Exarch and Alize told me what they knew of events, but I had stubbornly clung on to the hope that all-out war might yet be avoidable. And poor Tataru. She must be sick with worry. We must endeavor to return as soon as we may. It would be nice to bring her good tidings for a change. But before we bid this world farewell, we must first ensure that it is not rejoined to the source. We must prevent the 8th Umbral calamity. Urianger's vision of the future has, I fear, every chance of coming true. By his description, the catalyst for the calamity was a formless and deadly weapon employed by the Garlean Empire.
Black Rose.
Which can only mean one thing. Black Rose. Gaius was telling you the truth. When we were on the trail of the Ascians, we saw evidence that the gas was being manufactured once more. Gaius was adamant that the project had been scrapped. But so long as there are wars to be waged, there will always be those determined to win by any means.
Mm-hmm.
And thus simply destroying the existing stores of Black Rose would do little to alter fate's course. In that sense, our involuntary journey here to the First was something of a boon. Together with the Exarch, we've developed a theory as to how we believe the rejoining will be set in motion. I'm sure Urianger himself will cover the subject in more detail. But I can tell you the process requires that both worlds, the Source and the First, be facing an existential threat. One being Sin Eaters, of course. They are a menace that I would dearly love to remove, and not just to avert a calamity. I may be a stranger to this world, but I will not stand idly by and let innocent people be slaughtered. That is what brought me to the gates of Yulmore. Ignoring its pretensions as a kind of capital city to what remains of the world, it is nonetheless a center of power and authority. If any solutions are to be found, I believe our search should begin there. What say you, old friend? Hungry for another adventure?
Mm-hmm.
And so we take to the road once more.
We gotta watch the tavern first. Gotta wait for her to come back. Can't just abandon this place. How shame on you. Alrighty, open arms, closed gate. Assuming you have no objections, let us make our way directly to the city outskirts. If we time our arrival just right, you may be lucky enough to see why I have yet to set foot in Yulmore, despite my best efforts to do so. Come, from here we must head west and then cross a small bridge. Of course, we're leaving this place complete lefty! Haven't seen you in a while, buddy. Strong, the wife, caddy, local merchant, Arnar, delivery Moogle. Alright, so we do not have a gemstone trader here. I'm not really going to worry about the Aether Currents too much right now. We'll get them at a later date, especially considering I won't be able to get all the Aether Currents right away. So basically, once we finish an area, then we will do the Aether Currents. Elusia seems peaceful, does it not? Almost familiar. I had a similar impression of the Crystarium. Even in this distant world, people are much the same. To think that whenever a calamity struck the source, a reflection such as this one, with all its culture and history, was being erased from existence. No, get away from me. Over there. Quickly, someone's in trouble. My Ozma mount. This was the best reward for getting a clear in Baldessian Arsenal. Boinky, 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 boinky. Oh, thank the fates. Look out! Time to eat some crits. Let's aid the lady. My poor heart. Thank you, young sir. Ah, there you are. In my haste, I lost my bearings, but I see you have the situation well in hand. Fine work. Are you all right, madam? Just a few bruises from where I fell, nothing compared to what was in store for me before this brave soul came to my rescue. I honestly thought I was done for. My feet are not as swift as they once were. I knew there was no one left to hear me scream. Not that I let that stop me. I should probably leave my old house behind and queue up outside Yulmore with the rest of them. Doubt those fancy lords and ladies would welcome an old crone like me. Still, even a shack near the gate has to be safer than staying here. One would hope. Either way, I suggest you avoid wandering alone, lest you make the Sin Eater's task any easier. Thank you again. You saved my life. Now, I'm sure a strapping lad like you has little to fear, but I wouldn't linger long in this place. There's not to be had here but cobwebs and memories. Tis as the lady says, many in these parts have abandoned their homes to live in Yulmore's shadow. Should the Sin Eaters descend upon this region, there are precious few with the strength to fight them off. Speaking of which, what have you been told of these monsters? Not much. A brief history, then. It was not long after the flood swallowed the better part of the world that the Sin Eaters first appeared, some beastly, some beauteous. Yet regardless of their form, all seemed incapable of speech, and all are driven by the same insatiable appetite for mortal aether. They are predators, and we are their prey. Kalusia suffers from far fewer attacks than most regions, but even so, the list of the Sin Eater's victims grows longer by the day, tragedy without end. Still, we have won a small victory this time, at least. How? Now, shall we pass on? We need to return to where the road forks and follow the path that leads west. Damn, this is probably going to be the last thing I do for this part.
That gate up ahead is known as the Open Arms, and Yulmore itself lies beyond. This, meanwhile, is the aptly named Gate Town, the dwelling place of the many desperate souls who hope to be chosen to live in the city proper.
I thought I recognized you. Brought a new friend, eh? I'll bet you got a trick or two up your sleeve. Maybe even 3. Care to show me?
I get the same hairdo.
He's not here to compete. Leave him be.
What? I was only making conversation.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please!
These two kind of remind me of Final Fantasy IX characters.
Greetings to our hopeful petitioners, one and all. Yulmore extends its warmest regards.
And it sounds like the Calcabrina boss fight music too for Final Fantasy IV.
Let it be known that a lady of distinction wishes to dine on fish divine. We seek a master culinarian who can guarantee seafood perfection. Dazzle the matron with your delicious dishes, and life in the city will be yours to enjoy, even on days when fish is not on the menu. Who among you will answer the call? Name yourself or another. We might not at all.
Fish, is it?
Was there anyone?
What about that girl?
Do you recall how I said Yulmore was a center of power and authority? Well, that is not the only reason for its fame. It is also known as the City of Final Pleasures. The noble and the wealthy who survived the flood gathered here to live out the rest of their days in decadent abandon. A poor man could sooner pass through the Iron Needle than Yulmore's gates. The only way the common folk can enter this perverted paradise is if they fulfill the whim of one of the privileged. And so they are picked over like market produce.
What a catch! We'll not be throwing this one back. Having seen your all too obvious charms, we welcome you with open arms. Come, join us in the City of Splendor and live out your life in an ecstasy of endeavor.
They speak in rhyme.
Oh, just look at those expectant faces. What could you possibly be waiting for? Well, what have we here? An extra share of meal to celebrate our newest resident!
Oh god, knowing what I know.
Enjoy!
Thank goodness.
Meal is a foodstuff which Yulmore routinely doles out to the people of Gatetown, and apparently a staple for its citizens as well. Many here rely on it to survive in these times of scarcity. Yet the whole arrangement just seems... well, let's just say it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Kind of remind me of the Jester twins, Zorn and Thorn from Final Fantasy IX. Queen Braun's little henchmen. Now you understand why my attempts to enter the city have thus far come to naught. The dubious privilege of residency must be won via a contest with ever-changing rules. They say this policy has been in place for the past 2 decades, ever since Yulmore's current ruler came into power. Yet from what I have seen, it does more harm than good. Not only does it distract people from our shared struggle against the Sin Eaters, it robs them of their self-sufficiency. I've tried to propose ways they could improve their lot, but my words invariably fall on deaf ears. The attitude is so entrenched now, I worry that, well, mayhap you should take a turn around Gatetown and judge the situation for yourself. Alright, we'll go ahead and judge around Gatetown, and we're gonna call it. I'm gonna open all this junk up and end up selling it. Might just break it down, actually. Depending. Still here, are you? Can't blame you for wanting a slice of Yulmore's pie. If you ask me, you should ditch that sour-faced brat and make a home for yourself here. Gatetown's not much to look at, but at least it's safe, and the meal is the best thing I've ever tasted. This is complete shantytown if I've ever seen one. A large pot bubbles over the flame. Pale chunks meal, you realize, float in the otherwise plain broth. Ugh, sounds gross. Preoccupied petticoat. With a destination standing right next to it. Gate Town. Just look at it. Can you imagine a more beautiful city? Every day I dream of the life that awaits me inside those walls, so will they ever pick me? You can't do a double spin. If I spin the wheel too fast, it doesn't register. That's why it just does the jerky motion. You've seen what Gate Town has to offer. These people can no longer fend for themselves. They've become dependent on handouts of meal and believe Yulmore is the answer to all their woes. Yet no matter how I frame my encouragement, they seem unwilling, nay, unable to conceive of any other way of life. I'm just gonna pick it up. A fickle existence. Once I pick it up, we're going to go ahead and end the part. You disapprove of these people's way of life, you disapprove of Yulmore. It is difficult to make a final judgment without first seeing the city's inner workings. Mayhap it is the uncertainty which always makes me feel so ill at ease here. Not that it matters. However unjust the system seems to me, if these people claim to be content with their lot, it is hardly my place to criticize their choices. But take that elderly lady you rescued. Does it not seem that those who have chosen to forego Yulmore's largesse are doomed to suffer for their independence? In the end, they are all but forced to seek refuge in Gate Town, and so hamlets and fields across the island are left empty and untended, hastening the region's descent into ruin. Nay, I am not convinced that Yulmore's generosity truly serves the best interests of Kaluja's people. I am not so naive as to think that there is some miraculous solution to all of this, yet I cannot help but frown at the sight of hard-working villagers struggling to survive, even as the chosen few rejoice at being plucked from poverty by the hand of a capricious noble. There has to be a better way. I will not know for sure, however, until I have taken those long-delayed steps through Yulmore's gates. 'Tis fortunate that you arrived when you did, hero. I have been working on a scheme to insinuate myself into the city, and if all goes to plan, it should be soon come to fruition. There's a beast tribe who makes its home in the seas surrounding the island, the Undo, they are called, though you and I know them as Sahagan. For the most part, they keep to themselves in their ocean grottos and rarely have dealings with land dwellers. But as Totaro took such great pains to impress upon me during our stay in Kugane, business favors the bold, and so I reached out to them. I duly discovered that the Undo are inordinately fond of land-grown produce, fresh fruits in particular, and when I offered to procure such goods for them, they promised to pay me in pearls. An attractive business venture for any prospective investor, would you not agree? Surely even the most jaded Yulmorean lord would have time for a merchant who can make pearls from plums and pumpkins. Yes, I've come a long way since my days of buying samurai swords without first negotiating a price. My appointment with the Undo is due to take place in a few hours. I just need to collect the produce and meet with them on the shore. Might you help me make the exchange? Sure. Excellent. I should be glad of your company. First things first, then, we must pay a visit to Moshimoa, my supplier and right. Come, it is just to the northwest of here. Uh-oh. Information is power. People love power. Alright. We're gonna go ahead and end that there, though. Thank y'all for watching. This has been part 113 of my live stream playthrough of Final Fantasy XIV. If you'd like to go ahead and give me a thumbs up by hitting that like button. Subscribe to my channel. Not a subscriber, keep with the content. Comment down below, tell me what you think about the game and my gameplay, though no spoilers, please. And I will see you in the next video as we continue our trek into Shadowbringers. Catch you then. Later.